Hello, YouTube, this is Mikey. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is the same thing which happened, like I said, this is the third video after the one which I said this is going to be all like a part video. Yeah, this is the third part of it. So in this video, we found out what's the backstory of Navia's father. So it was kind of like, like just talking and not much of a thing, just learned how her father died and stuff like that. So yeah, hope you guys the video. If you do, please like and subscribe to the channel. We're super close to hitting a subscribe. We're just 2 subscribers away from the subscriber goal for this year, guys. So help me out reach that goal. It will help me a lot. So yeah, let's continue, shall we? Come on, guys, let's go.
Ability to focus or control your emotions.
Oh.
And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extremely dangerous substance. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused to yield. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem once and for all.
Yes.
What happened then?
But the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold the stuff and weren't privy to the rest of the operation.
Okay.
Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his informant. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene.
See?
Precisely. It's all
So
thanks
it
to
was
you that I made the
all
connection now. Back
We are
then,
smart.
we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired. You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring it all out. I'm finally headed towards the truth.
Yeah, I've spent my time keeping secrets, performing basic investigations, and waiting for the right time.
Thank you for all of that, Malus. Have you discovered anything new in the past few years?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to is that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula, or at least have an informant planted here.
It's the other guy with the glasses.
When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions of the synth vendors. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must have given them the news. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect list down to 3 people. The first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Florent.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most. Which also, thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture this whole time. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Everyone say head.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around with a lot of business connections in the city.
Yes, interesting.
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosu.
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, they provided us with plenty of support.
Okay.
It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down themselves.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically always plan one step ahead.
I see. These are all people who I communicate with quite regularly.
That's just sad.
To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust the most. It's almost too hard to believe.
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy is extremely cautious.
Of
When
course.
are they gonna show me?
And thank you, Malus.
Yeah,
You've
I
provided
don't know
us with
her
a
name.
lot of great information.
I don't know her name. Graphics is hard to me.
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my duty. And
See,
before
that's a lot of
I
stories,
forget,
like,
proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques' death. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today.
Excuse me, miss. Do you
What
need
if Melo's
anything
was
from
the
us?
guy all along? Oh my god, that mistake there. Oh, she's mad! She went to the
Oh,
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what happened, I didn't know how I was supposed to face the two of
If it's about that, there's no need to
She's still
apologize.
mad!
After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of mora and support. I understood
shit.
your guilt and apology to be genuine.
Aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of pain that comes with losing a father so needlessly.
You don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift. I know only the full truth could bring closure to you, and to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
No, but that girl has the
I'm
attitude like
sorry.
all that.
I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't have to carry all that guilt. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
Oh, yes, all.
Would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that my father could ever bring himself to shoot Jacques.
I always knew that my husband's
Okay.
money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought Mora was everything. So when Mr.
Really bad, man.
Callis
The
came
money
to him with
corruption,
a
man.
proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
They found out about his betrayal?
Papa didn't say that
Papa,
exactly.
you're not
But
Papa!
Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
So you also got to call it Papa, Papa. That sounds great. Papa.
Before he
Yeah,
left
I
that
got a
day,
Papa, so.
he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell to the two of us. I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis had always taken great care of us, both when he was still alive and after he passed away. Even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was likely in self-defense. It is impossible for me to hate him for what he had done.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy if he did the right thing? Papa always wanted to be a good man, so why did he have to do a bad thing in the end?
Well, things aren't always as they seem. You still feel like your papa was a good man, right?
Yeah, Papa was a really
Just
good
think
man.
he's a good man.
The
Like,
best in the whole world.
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to do a bad thing, then he must have had his reasons.
yep.
Regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword. He must have done so to give you a better life.
Oh,
At least she's not mad anymore and give me that anymore.
Thank
So
you
yeah.
for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth. The current
Thank you. I'm very grateful to hear this from you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really similar.
You really think so? That's the first time anyone said that to me.
Don't cry again. Come on, Navia.